We're here, guys, at Sim Formula Europe 2026, and since we are right at the entrance of the venue, we're about to jump in and I show you around what's there to see in this year's Sim Formula Europe. So, whilst we're going through here, lots of people, lots of cars, and we're starting off with a banger right there. Look at that Lamborghini supercar. What a beautiful shot of a car that is. The big diffuser down there, exhaust pipes, probably rain lights in the very back. I would not assume it's braking lights. This is an absolute machine. Look at the cooling on the engine cover. Look at how flat this thing is. So I'm standing upright, holding the camera roughly 1.20 m, and yet the car is way more flat. Anyway, to give you a little bit of the impressions as in what's going on here, we do have lots of supercars here on the right entry. We see a Ferrari right here, a quite unusual shape for a Ferrari, but that makes it so special, I assume. A Porsche Carrera GT. Over there you can see a Porsche 992 RS, a Praga that Jimmy Broadbent has raced. And just to give you a little bit more of an idea actually what's going on here, we do have supercars up here, left, right and centre. This Manthey Porsche is up for sale. If you have 550,000 euros lying around, then this could be yours. And further down there, and I'll quickly have a go, before we actually focus on the sim stuff, it's just mind-blowing what kind of supercars that you can see up here in the first place. I thought I'd give you a look on those, right? Isn't that proper supercars? Koenigsegg. And many more. Some of them that I probably do not even recognize on first view. Anyway, why you guys have tuned in is because of the Sim Formula Europe, which is a little bit more connected to the overall Interclassics ground this year. Anyway, we're going up the stairs, and I think we're going to start with the easy bit, with the fun, with the public bit first. Here on the left, our friends from Overtake GG, finally running good simulators. I don't mean Assetto Corsa Rally quite necessarily, but it's the first time I've seen a little bit more Le Mans Ultimate stuff here. So that's great to see. Guys have Le Mans Ultimate on their simulators. And then you have to say, the overall venue this year is a little wider, is a little more, it's over 2 floors this time, and it does combine the standard sim racing stuff with a little bit of air flying and flying simulation, which we're going to see shortly. So here on the right we do have a Swiss company, Racing Fuel Simulators. They are here with 2 examples of simulations and simulators. Here we see Assetto Corsa, we see a full motion rig. I think the price tag is around 27k. Classic Mercedes vintage wheel. How you want to have it in a vintage car. Whether that is an actual Mercedes running on a track, I do not know. However, they got a little bit more modern as well, with a nice LED screen and probably some lovely dashboard I can see there. Greetings go out to Konstantinos. Do you guys remember that look of that Ferrari? Yes, the F1 2000 of Michael Schumacher with a legendary starting number 3. Then here on the opposite side we'll find 2 actor racers, one being set up with quite some classic steering wheel as well for classic cars. I mean, remember, this is the Interclassic, lots of historical cars out there, that's what it is all about. And then the screaming machine that we saw in Simracing Expo in October last year already, which most of the people actually drive nuts. Anyway, it runs with the VR glasses as we've known from Simracing Expo. proper seating, and interestingly, it's been managed from here on that screen in the back. So that is the interesting part about this one. And then here to our left, we'll find the Fanatec booth. Fanatec out with a new Podium DD, also I think with a new kind of F1 style simulator. It reminds me a lot of a different brand, obviously, but you can see here the shape is pretty new. That is something that is, yeah, very much different to another brand that we know. Obviously here, the guys got on the new active pedals, it's not active pedals, the new load cell pedals, the Podium pedals, with actually the heel plates and the F1 gadgets here on the foot plates that you cannot dislocate your foot. That is also in a Formula 3 here on the on that sim. And here at the very back you can find the edges of the chassis and the surroundings of the simulator being laid out here. They have their products here as well, obviously. They do have another simulator here, a little bit more easy setup using a card. That is Automobilista 2 for those of you that wanted on the simulation. And then over here they have teamed up with Nürburgring Esports. So they brought simulators in, and that game is Assetto Corsa from what I can see. I have to say, very shiny, sharp screens as I'm looking onto them. Then on the backside, straight away, a different type of manufacturer, Track Time and Race Room. They've brought GT3 setups, supercars. They have brought their biggest Asher wheel available. A wheel that I'm particularly interested in now as well, because as you guys know, I'm a bit of a weird pleb and I need a dash, I need LEDs. And sadly I cannot run a dash as it's like on this simulator. For the well-known reasons, for those of you that enjoy my live streams, you are knowing about this, that I cannot put an LED or LCD screen over my steering wheel as much as I would love to. Anyway, these screens are pretty interesting, to be honest. Here, a doubled version. You see lots of fancy automated stuff on. This ultra wide here is also interesting, as it gives you the option here on the left and the right. I love the animations to put additional information for you. Apart from that, you know, they've put out their sim racing equipment, the different kind of Asher wheels that they are selling. Then next to Fanatec, and again on the opposite of Race Room, we'll find Sim Racing Store NL, and they've basically brought a selections of simulators. Restech, our friends from Italy, Assetto Corsa 1, pretty much straight away racing, but you know, a good and fun stand, I'd say, that they've built up there. Then moving a bit on, we find our friends from Thermaltake. And Thermaltake isn't quite here with that big of a setup as they were in Sim Racing Expo this year. However, they brought the right sim from my POV. They are here with Le Mans Ultimate. Their 3DOF motion rig system, everything being designed and developed by Thermaltake themselves. Nicely illuminated actually with some RGB here on the front, as we can see. So is the screen, sorry, not the screen, the case PC and the keyboard and everything else that you can basically find here on the Thermaltake stand. Here you see a version that is a bit more open, where you see the actuators being a bit more freely, being a bit more directly on the rig. Their load cell pedals, not load cell, hall sensor. A load cell is I think what they hopefully are bringing soon. So we're going to see about that in the future. Anyway, to give you a perspective where Thermaltake actually comes from, here they have some case PCs, here they got pedal sets, different kind of springs for their potentiometer setup. So there is a lot of customization going on already on their end. Here you can see the software actually of the pedals being set up. I don't know if that is actually working. Yes, it is. So here is throttle and so on. So you can see how the software is set up. And that is obviously, I think, a big selling point. We're talking a lot about people using different kind of hardware. But this hardware here obviously is all one platform. So you only need one setup program in order to run it on your PC and in order to set it up on your PC as you want. Then further on we have simracingpro.com. They have their multiple selection of colors and different shaped pedal systems with them here. The performance starts here is their slogan. And I think they have pretty interesting hydraulic pedals and load cell pedals. So especially the customization possibilities is pretty huge, is pretty intense on their systems. So definitely need to keep an eye out how they are developing. Then on the very end of this lane we find kart sim, and the schooled eyes of you guys know exactly what sim that is. Yes, exactly. It is the Kartcraft area of R-Factor 2, basically. So we can still see the old R-Factor 2 HUD there. And obviously, and there seems to be a trend that you also set up rigs in form of a go-kart area. So that is the interesting part about this here on the top floor. Now, I said this is a lot bigger than last year. So we do have a second floor. And on that second floor, basically it's in one level below. But there you find the flight sim stuff. And this is where we're gonna go down now as well. It's not only about flight sim stuff, I can say so much. You are enjoying this video, the walkover over the Sim Expo in Sim Formula Europe? Then please guys, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe on the YouTube channel, and let me know down in the comments area below what has been the most interesting part for you. But it certainly is about sports, not necessarily esports, but you're gonna see why in a moment. I'm gonna finish with the sim racing stuff to see down here before we go a quick time around the hall in the flight stuff, which is here to the right, but we turn left first. So down here we find the Thrustmaster, which I believe is Gran Turismo, and Gran Turismo on this rig together with Thrustmaster steering wheels. They have a vintage Ferrari steering wheel here too, which is really nice to look at. They really have nice shapes, and like also the finishing. I had that Mercedes thing on, you know, on the orange simulator that we saw before. Is a very nice finish. You have a really nice vintage feeling of those going on when you're racing fiercely, have them in the hands. You can get a feeling of what the steering wheels back in the day have felt like. Anyway, here we have got more Thrustmaster and next level sim racing with some Le Mans Ultimate. So that's nice to see. We see a lot of Le Mans Ultimate here on this trade fair. So that's enough for sim racing for the moment. As I've mentioned, it's about sports. And here we do see, this is not Peloton as far as I'm concerned. Please correct me if I'm wrong with my limited knowledge. However, you can see is a setup where you put yourself onto the bike and you go cycling ahead of the software. So it works pretty much like Peloton, but I do think it's a different manufacturer. And before I say something odd or wrong, I rather say nothing at all, because I do actually not know. Interestingly, I found a little bit of a brochure that has interesting race car models down here. Anyway, one guy is in action right here, and actually two guys are in action. But to see how that actually works, I think it would be a fun thing for me in my living room to actually do some sports, right? But then I can see that you don't go really like left or right. Probably you would have to do with leaning to the left and right. It is a proper workout, let's say it like this. Anyway, we're moving on to the Flight Sim web shop, or the Flight Sim Fest, how they are calling it. It is a very small area, but this is all about flying. So here you see one guy having a joystick, flying, I think one of those Red Bull Air Race stuff. Actually, we're above the Red Bull Ring, but you see, we're not on the Red Bull Ring, we're flying above it. So here's flight racing going on. Then here at the front they have their stage where the industry is showing the latest stuff. You can see some manual flight controls down there. And you know, it goes from everything really, being a stronger setup as here, being a very modular setup for what I would probably be using on my home soil, and people enjoying it. However, if we're just looking at it, this and like a much less technologically advanced edition of this one is what I started with. Even that one has way too many buttons already compared to what I started with when I had a little bit of playing fun with flying planes. You know, there's a bit of paradox world. Like, I do appreciate aviation. I find it super interesting and funny. Not funny, but like scientific and interesting. But I'm seriously hate flying. I'm like really anxious in flying. Someone that does not be anxious of flying though is Gamer Muscle, who we also see here.
Hello, Michi.
Hello.
Ahoy.
Yes.
Hoi hoi.
So, how did you like the simulator here that you've been on?
I thought it was really good actually. So it's quite nice how you've got the. We can come a bit closer actually. It's quite nice. So with this, you can see they've set it up so you've got the a separate monitor for all the instrumentation.
Yeah.
And most of flying is looking at the instrumentation for airspeed, the virtual horizon. So you know if you're tilting, you know, because a lot of flying is using instrumentation. A lot of flying is also looking at what's going on as well.
Of course.
But it's nice that with this you can really see all the instruments, make sure you understand what they're all doing, see how they respond, train that, and then, you know, when it comes to flying the real plane, then they can focus on actually looking at it. But it's a nice setup.
As you're someone that is more regularly on a flight sim, would you consider getting something like that for your gaming area?
For a home set, well, I'm a total casual flight simmer, so for me, I just have the AB9 joystick, and then that's on the side of the sim rig, and I like gliders, so that's what I do. But I think this is more for if someone's dedicated to flight sim, then they get a yoke. That's what you can see them flying with, rather than a joystick. And if you like flying lighter aircraft, Cessnas and Robinson, I'm not sure which plane was that? Flying?
Baron.
The Beechcraft Baron, Beechcraft Baron. So if you fly those types of aircraft that would have a yoke, it's nice to match up the control with it. But for your casual, a joystick, and then you see the rudder pedals actually.
Yes.
So those are the Thrustmaster pendular rudder pedals. They're really good at actually to have them at home.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good bit of kit if you wanted to get a bit more serious into flight sim.
What is the price tag of that? Do you know? Roughly.
So, well, let's say the yoke. You could get a similar yoke with force feedback. Moser do a force feedback type yoke that for about, I think it's 800. Rudder pedals about 300. Throttle unit is probably 300 or so. And then, but the dash thing is probably about 1.5. 1K, 1.5, 2K. There's a lot of different configurations. If you look on the right, they've got all the you see all the autopilot stuff, but you can also got all the radio options, so all the communications.
Which would be handy for the Microsoft Flight Simulator World.
If you were going to do a pilot license, you can use. That's enough stuff on that for someone to get familiar with the basics of a small real light aircraft. So,
I see.
Yeah, it's very exciting stuff.
I can imagine. Certainly more money to be spent.
This is cool.
Is this yours? No.
This is not mine, but this is from Honeycomb. It's a little it's an Echo aviation controller. But what's cool with this is it's £150.
Yes.
And basically you get the really smooth throttle. So normally in a plane you can control the throttle, but you also have the mixture. It's like a 1930s car. But then you've got like flaps and air brakes and.
So basically, you got the main controls all in a.
But yeah, all the main core things and nice big buttons, and then you just fly delicately. So £150, and then you can play. If you're playing flight sim casually, and you've got a rig that's pretty powerful for driving sims,
then you get to go.
Yeah, you sit in your rig and you do some flight sim and just get off Game Pass and have a good time. So, it's pretty awesome.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for your insight.
The end of flight sim on Michi's.
Maybe. Who knows?
They'll get you in the glide.
Yeah. Right. So Gamer Muscle there with an insight in terms of flying simulation. And our question to you guys, you could almost fear it, I guess. Would you be interested to see me sitting flying a plane? I mean, this is again contradicting, as I'm a guy that is anxious of flying. I've done flying on a simulator before. I'm not particularly great in it, but like getting this kind of a gamepad and doing some flight simming with it would probably, I don't know, let me know. Guys, let me know down in the comments area below if you're still watching here. And let me know what you think. So, back to the sim racing stuff. We've only seen 70% of it, I'd say. Back at our guys from Overtake. And then we're coming up to something very, very interesting. Very interesting because Huizinfeld have just, for the beginning of this trade fair, announced that they're working on something special. And as these personnel will have a little go, I'm not talking about those amazing handbrakes and shifter stuff. I'm talking about this. So, once again, I do see a lovely dashboard, as we know it from our home. But what we also see is 12 rotaries, actually one funky switch, which is that one, and 4 buttons, including an LED illumination for whenever they've been touched and turned. So you see these things actually will do something. MGUK recovery, that sounds like either F1 or hypercars. And here on the top you see even brake bias, the lovely dashboard is adjusting accordingly. So I'll take one of those functional prototype papers with me, price approximately 300 euros. Is that something you guys would be interested in? Personally, I am, because this is not only this bright and great, look how flat and slim it is. So I see a huge potential for this sport to be somewhere on my rig for whatever reason. Probably don't need the lovely dashboard twice, but for people that do have a steering wheel with no dashboard, this button box could be a game changer, right? So we see Huizinfeld's print pedals. I still operate them, I still love them, I would still recommend getting them. Then besides the handbrakes and the Magni shift, we see the ultimates here, twice the price, and as far as I'm concerned, also load cell still. Anyway, they offer a 10% and free shipping if you buy here today, and they also got a little bit of simulators with them in order for you to try some stuff down here. Because I say simulators, I obviously show you the other parts here in the back. There we also see the dashboard being in use for once, as we see Rick van Erle here, I think, in the sim. So as you can see, Assetto Corsa driving and the button box already working. So here you see this button box in action, and this could be a way how you could actually show, or how you could actually put this onto your rig. So interesting stuff. I think I'm interested, that's for sure. Something else that you guys will be interested, hopefully, or pretty sure are interested, as we see more sim racing stuff here on the left hand side. Simware.eu, Conspit is here, and SimMagic selling their products. And here is a G-Tail Design, which have interesting extensions when it comes to sim racing wheels. Probably that would be more for me, as I'm running a Simu Cube 1 with a quick release. And obviously they also have their own Sim Dash, the Sim Dash Elite 5.0, And their steering wheels, and I think actually that steering wheel also got a dash included. Exactly. I've said it before, it's the amount of hardware manufacturers that we do see and that we do get on the market. Then we see Marbix here, who's currently working. Greetings to the Marbix community. Working. So he's doing a live stream. I'm pretty much recording only, so don't be intimidated, it's fine. He's doing a live watch-along of the VCO ERL series that has their final here right now. Here you see the live commentators, Ayuna and Lewis McGlade. They are commenting on the action that is happening over here. Bear with me, I need to take a couple of walks. That you see over here, so Virtus Pro, Team Nitro, Era Esports by EEM and Williams F1 Team Racing having their final four here live on stage, and it's about this trophy that it is all about, the ERL 2025 Hello Esports Racing League. Well, I don't know the English word for it, but you know what it is, right? The interesting thing is those guys not only having headsets to be in with race control, they're also having headsets in order to speak to their team personnel, to their managers, and so on. Over here we have the Friends of Race Sport TV, we have race control as the race happens on the last garage. For those of you that know what happened here last year when I got second place in Sim Formula, spoiler, I didn't qualify for it this year. It's the simulator of Marcel Offermans, who is Mr. Race Control himself, being assisted by Felix van Delft, and the commentator legend Cameron Roger.
You can see things are getting close.
This is the stage similar to last year, where we've tried to qualify, and I already said, spoiler, top 3 to go through. We didn't make it. Unlucky. I bottled a bit of qualifying, but after all, I have to say, with 7/10 of gap, that is also just a skill issue at this point. Anyway, additionally, we have a SimuCube right here, not that motion rig, I mean, but I think there is a SimuCube support on that motion rig, as you can see. Active pedal, SimuCube steering wheel, SimuCube button, not button box, wheelbase. And here we have a couple of their products. So as I already said, active pedals, load cell pedals, pedal plates, stuff like that. Steering wheels, and their SimuCube wheelbase. That should be the wheelbase version 3. And then last but not least, probably one of the last stands to really highlight is the Simverse, being also powered by Nitro Concepts, as we see. Probably the amount of brands that you can actually buy here, not here on that stand, but on that platform. Running Le Mans Ultimate as well, which I really appreciate to see Le Mans Ultimate that much. Simverse, another sim racing shop where you can get your hardware that you need for racing. And then what I quickly skipped is Tuatara. Tuatara, the official merch shop, I think, of sim racing legend Jarno Opmeer, who we've seen sitting down there in the row watching the eSport finals. As much as Lawrence de Sousa currently trying his reaction, something I want to take on as well. Let's see how we do over here. There we see Falcon teammate Sven Krielhut. Hello. He has qualified in P1 for the event, and yeah, that is actually it. Let's hope that Sven is going to do a good job tomorrow, a much better job than I did in qualifying today. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed this walkover here from the Sim Formula Europe. It's a mind-blowing venue, as I've already mentioned, just to give you a last final shot as we're coming around from the other side. you see all about those hypercars, supercars, call it whatever you want. To me, hyper, super, mega cars is all the same thing. Yeah, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this walk around. Anything you guys want me to take a look on tomorrow? Maybe I'll do an answer video to those comments coming there. As today's Saturday, tomorrow's Sunday, I'm still going to be around. So let me know down in the comments area below something you are particularly interested in to see or hear from the Sim Formula Europe Sim Expo. Thank you so much for watching, guys. As usual, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment. Thank you so much.